Very much, board.
I would like to take a moment of personal privilege to recognize several special guests that we have here this evening, our members of our legislative delegation, and I'd like to introduce Representative Pat Smith and Representative Alfred Williams, and ask if you all would like, do you have anything you'd like to say, or are you just here to watch the proceedings? I'm going to recognize Ms. Hill in a moment, too. Would y'all like to be together? And our Bessie board member, Ms. Carolyn Hill.
Ladies speak first.
Ladies speak first.
I'm going to let Pat go first.
Good evening to the
Good evening.
chairman of the board here and the board members, Superintendent Taylor, to the listening audience and those who are present here. We're here today, and there are also some community members here in support of what we're about to talk about this evening, and we want to let you know that we're here to support East Baton Rouge Parish School System. We know that there have been some difficult times just in the recent past, and we wanted to make some comments, and this is one of the pastors from my district, Pastor Herman Kelly from Bethel AME. We wanted to make a few comments about what's recently happened with the audit that's been done for East Baton Rouge Parish and make a few statements about it. It's inherent upon us as legislators, as well as community members and supporters of East Baton Rouge Parish, to let you know that we feel very strongly that these allegations, and I say that another time, allegations have not yet been proven to be true. And I think that it's important for folks to understand that in looking at what's happened with this audit, that there are some things that we want you to know, that East Baton Rouge Parish is not yet proven to have done anything wrong. I want to also say that the most important part of this for me is that we found out, and I think through Bessie member Carolyn Hill, this was the most extensive audit ever done to any school district in the state of Louisiana ever. It's never been done before to this extent. So we as legislators are going to see how we can get State Superintendent White to do the very same audit in every school district throughout the state of Louisiana for high schools. We think that's important. And I can also tell you that I ran across some individuals from school districts at our education committee meeting yesterday, found out that there are districts that have not been audited in this state for 15 years. And Superintendent White informed us that audits are done randomly throughout the state. But there are some that have not been done for 15 years. So I can tell you that in my opinion and what I have said about what is going on, I stand by it. I stand very strongly by what I said, that there is something going on with the State Department in relationship to East Baton Rouge Parish Schools. And we intend to find out and dig deeper. And I would hope that as you go through your agenda tonight, that the discussion that you're going to have is to allow your superintendent to go forward, as well as others, to assist with an audit of your own, as well as to as whatever you need to do to make sure that you get to the bottom of this. So I just want to let you know that I do support East Baton Rouge Parish, always have and always will.
Thank you for having us today. From the Bessie board member standpoint that represent EBR, first I would like to commend you guys because you guys have made significant strides. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. I want you to know that myself and the legislators, we'll be working diligently, we'll be working hard to get to the bottom of this. I had a meeting with Superintendent White on this past Monday, and as Representative Pat Smith alluded to, that this has been the only district that has had an audit to this magnitude. With that being said, I have requested data from Superintendent White in regards to the random audits that he has stated that he has conducted in other parishes. However, I received a response on yesterday from him stating that they are currently still finalizing the audits. So with that being said, once I receive the data from each parish, and of course EBR audit. I'll be doing a comparison and contrast to see what findings that I find in other districts as well. But I want you to know that we're here to stand for EBR, and I want you to know, as your Bestie member, continue to do what you're doing, Superintendent, and continue to fight for our children, board members, and continue to stand for what's right. So thank you once again.
President Tadman, Vice President Smith, and Superintendent Taylor, and other board members. You know, I can just share with you that I am 100% in support of East Baton Rouge Parish School System, product of the school system, and I recognize what's going on to you all. I made a statement to Superintendent White, and I will continue to make that statement. There's an effort, among others, to attack East Baton Rouge Parish School System, to close it down and give it to other folks. I believe that. And hopefully some of you as board members begin to believe that. You know, so this audit plays part in that. But I want to talk about something else a little bit other than the audit. I want to talk about Parkview, because Parkview is very, very dear to me. Pat and I requested some information. That information came out quickly. It showed that East Baton Rouge Parish had been discriminated against. Information had been held back. A school was not presented. Within hours, they changed their mind and decided to submit the information. My little nephew who attends there, he calls me and he tells me, "Uncle Alfred, thank you." Today, though, when I get home, he was at my house. "How did you let them do this to us?" This is a third grader. The parents, the teachers, the community, and your school board member from that area ought to be mad, ought to be upset about the way that they're treating that school. You need to be jumping up and screaming about how they're treating that school. And Jill, I'm sorry, that's your school, am I?
No, it's not my school.
It's your school.
And
David, you need to, whoever the member is, needs to be jumping up, screaming, saying, do not treat this school this way. It's so unfair to treat this school because those kids work so hard to be where they are. The parents work so hard to get their kids where they are. The teachers work so hard. And then to let politics, now, you know, is it a coincidence that the same man who was over the audit is the same man who withheld Parkview? Is it a coincidence, or is it inside politics? It is time that Baton Rouge, it is time that the Louisiana Department of Education stop playing politics with our kids' lives. Tomorrow, I'm hand-delivering a letter to the Inspector General and to the Legislative Auditor asking them to investigate the Department of Education, because what they're doing is wrong to the people in this community.
Mr. President and the superintendent and the board, I'm not a politician. I'm a servant leader in East Baton Rouge Parish. I'm a stakeholder in this community. I want to thank the superintendent for allowing Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church to adopt McKinley High School football team. That's the kind of superintendent we have. I don't just sit in my ivory tower and prepare sermons. I pastor in the community. I went to the first scrimmage, McKinley High School and Baker. I just happened to be there. A young man got seriously hurt, and the football team was going into prayer, and they looked around. Pastor Kelly, come and pray for this young man. That's the kind of superintendent we had, who allowed me to spread my wings in this community. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you, board. That's the superintendent we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent, Mr. President of the board, members of the board, I'm Linda Johnson. For 13 years, I was the Bessie member, and of course, this was one of my districts, and I enjoyed doing the work. When Sunday evening, I heard that the state superintendent, would be issuing his 7-page report. Couldn't understand why it was Sunday evening, but anyway, that's when it was. Timing seems to be everything when you do these things. So I recalled the next day and requested a copy. Got my copy right here. I have a college degree. I can read. I read this 3 times. First time I read it, I said, oh, is this the same student that we've been talking about for over a year? I said, can't be. So then I read it again, and I read it the 3rd time. And thank God people at the Advocate read it too, because this morning when I was drinking my coffee, I read what they said, and the first few lines says, we like a juicy scandal as much as anybody. So imagine our disappointment in the thin gruel that so far is the affair of East Baton Rouge schools. Well, I was so glad somebody read it like I read it, because there is no meat on this skeleton. There is nothing here. I support EBR. It's amazing that EBR's story is not being told the way I think it ought to be told. How many blue ribbon schools do you have? Okay, where else in the state do we have them? Okay. How many magnet school programs do you have? How many schools that you had last year that should have been eligible for recovery school takeover and you got them out? When are you going to toot your own horn? When are you going to say these are, and let me tell you something, Mr. Tatman, president of the board, most of the children, and I go to schools, the superintendent can tell you, he and I have been in schools together. Most of these children are my children because they look like me. And I am very, very concerned about them. I am so concerned that I tried to give up this stuff called education. That's why I didn't run for Bessie. People won't let me do that, but I really have tried to do it. But these are our children, and they deserve a quality education. I'm glad Alfred is doing what he's doing by taking a letter to the Inspector General, because I don't see how this school administration can continue to function if every day they get a new fire to put out. I mean, when are they going to do the stuff that y'all hired them to do? Every day they get a new fire. That is not the way to run a system. Also, if you keep changing horses, pretty soon you don't have nothing. So and you know how many superintendents have been here. Remember, I served 13 years, so you know I know how many have been here. When you keep changing horses, all you're doing is weakening your total stable. That's all you're doing. My suggestion to you is stand up to be heard, speak up so that people will listen, and do the things that you are supposed to do, which is to support the children in this school system. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One more thing. We will be asking for audits of various school districts, especially the RSD. So you can look forward, and I know that the legislative auditor is the one who audits RSD, so that too will be going in as a request for an audit. So just look forward to the fact that we want to show comparisons. We want to know that the State Department is doing the job they're supposed to do, and I'm so glad that Bessie member Carolyn Hill has asked for the random audits as well, because when I know that one district hasn't been audited for 15 years, it tells me that there's nothing random about this. So keep doing what you're doing, keep our children healthy, stable, and knowledgeable, and keep them on the move. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak.
Thank you, Representative Smith.
One last thing, if you don't mind. I personally know that a child from John Mack in New Orleans graduated and did not meet the criteria. How do I know that? Because I was asked to help him go to college, and he had not taken 2 courses of a foreign language in the same language. So it's not just here. It has happened other places.
I might just add, Representative Smith, Representative Williams, I certainly appreciate the work that you do in the legislature. I know it's not easy work. I appreciate your support of public education and your communication with us and the help that you provide. Thank you very much. Not just on education, but everything you do for East Baton Rouge Parish and our state. And Ms. Hill, thank you very much for serving on the Bessie board. Ms. Dyson? No.
I was going to tell Glen Oaks Park that was an excellent way to bring art into the classroom.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. You wanted something, Mr. Smith?
Thank you, President Tapman, and thank all of you all who've come out. Glad you recognized him on that point of personal privilege, which I'm sure this board and community and superintendent needed at this point. And I'm glad to see so many cameras. Hey, Graham, how you doing? And my friends from Channel 2, and I think the other 3, and I think 2 may have been here. But it's no secret that Mr. Tapman and I were briefed on the audit along with some members of the legislative delegation. And it's, and Alfred, you kind of got me fired up. It kind of, our meeting with John White went well, and I thought it was going to be a spirit of cooperation, but if anybody who saw the noon broadcast of Channel 2, as soon as Mr. Tapman and I walked out of the Claiborne building, who's out there? A reporter from Channel 2 asking the questions that we had discussed with John White. I'm not going to talk about his title because I'm going to call him John White. Well, I'm going to respect the position he was appointed to. But I found that odd because what I thought was going to happen in that meeting, and I'm not speaking for Mr. Tapman, but he may agree with me or not, that there was going to be a spirit of cooperation. That is why he wanted board leadership to come sit down with him. But I may have fallen off a turnip truck at some point in my life, but it hasn't been this year nor the year previous. 2 people walking out of the Claiborne building happens all the time. But when it's Mr. Tapman and myself, after a meeting with the state superintendent, come on. So I don't know what is being fed to the media from the State Department. Maybe that needs to be investigated. And let's talk about investigations. I was a prosecutor in the state of Louisiana for 7 years, 3 with the DA's office, and did white-collar fraud with the Attorney General's office. I know the difference between an investigation and an audit. I know the difference. I know the roles of the Inspector General, the Legislative Auditor, which this district welcomes if you have the authority. But when you get out there, media, and say this is law enforcement, it's being turned over to law enforcement, what does the general public think? I had people calling me saying, who's going to need lawyers at the school system? That is pathetic. And before I let you all know how I really feel, I'm going to relinquish the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We move now to item number 5, personnel matters, as for information only. See no questions from the board. And we move now to